So I did about a 90-second segment explaining that the dark shadow, which is what we've been looking at on Jupiter with EO, was only 70 miles wide. And then you have the penumbra, supposedly, which doesn't exist, but let's just see how big they say it is, because in the last video you found out that the shadow on Jupiter should be roughly the same size as the moon on Earth. And as someone pointed out very correctly, the shadow should be even smaller because Jupiter is so much farther from the sun, the rays are even more parallel. But without getting into all that, this is basically a cognitive dissonance reply, because someone said, oh, you can't use a larger picture of Jupiter to compare it to the Earth. Well, yes, you can if you know fourth grade education stuff, which is direct, ratio, and proportion, which is what we're going to do in this video real quickly here. So let's get into the direct ratio and proportion that anybody can do if they're willing to teach themselves something instead of going to cognitive dissonance. Already at the same website where I left the other link, and I'll try to remember to leave the link to this direct picture, here's the exact same photo, except we have the whole disk of Jupiter here. And we're going to take this little spot here. This is called ratio and proportion. And we're going to run it along the diameter of Jupiter and see how many times this circle takes to go all the way across the diameter. That way we can tell directly, using the exact same photograph, exactly how wide that shadow is. So this is very easy. Again, this is fourth grade stuff. Let's go ahead and do it. Look at that. Let's count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 diameters to go all the way across. And guess what? I cheated again for the globe. I made it significantly smaller. But anyway, I digress. Now, speaking of cognitive dissonance, going back to my Jupiter video where we showed this, whatever it was, 10,000 mile wide shadow on Jupiter, there were some people saying, well, you're not seeing the whole disk. I'm sorry, but if you see the whole planet, if that's what you want to call it, if you see the whole, all of Jupiter, and you see all black around it, meaning space, then you're seeing the whole disk. So what they were trying to say was we're only seeing a small part of it, so it makes it look bigger. I swear the cognitive dissonance that they can come up with is just amazing. Absolutely amazing. It's all bunk. The only people that have ever proven, and they haven't proven it, is penumbra is NASA. Look at that. The shadow doesn't get smaller than the ball. How is that possible? The sun is so much larger than the ball. And it doesn't matter, guys. I don't care. Do it on an angle when you can go hundreds of feet with this and cast a shadow. The shadow never gets smaller, and you never get more than the very outside edge get a little bit blurry. That's it. You get no cone effect. And you should. It's the exact same sun. It's even bigger because of our atmosphere. So we should get even much smaller shadow. And take two balls. Cast one shadow on the other. See if you can get the shadow to get smaller on the other one. You can't do it. So you can prove this yourself, that this whole cone, umbra penumbra, the sun is larger so it makes a smaller shadow. It's total freaking bullcrap. His excuse for Jupiter and the shadow is that the umbra penumbra is different. It's deeper there. It's not much different than the moon. It really isn't. The ratio and proportion is almost the same. We shouldn't get a 70-mile wide shadow versus a 10,000-mile, conservative 10,000-mile wide shadow.
Oh my god.